Hi, and welcome to 3 Things in 3 Minutes. I'm Nersi. Today, we are looking at Tokaido Duo from Stonemaier Games. It plays 1 to 2 players and plays in 20 to 30 minutes. So what it's about, Tokaido Duo is a re-release of the 2-player game set in the world of Tokaido, where players are journeying across the island of Shikoku. So each player controls 3 characters, a pilgrim, a merchant, and an artist, each with their own movement rules and ways of scoring. At the start of each turn, 1 player rolls 3 dice, 1 representing each character, and then players will draft them in alternating order. When you select a die, you must move the corresponding character that many spaces and then take the character's action. The pilgrim circles the island's perimeter, visiting temples and gardens to accumulate points, coastal towns to gain money, seashores to gain permanent abilities, and hot springs to allow double action later on. The merchant travels a series of trade routes, going between mountain towns to add aware tokens to their pack, and coastal towns to sell them for coins, turning every 10 coins into a gold slab. And the artist moves between areas to either flip over paintings based on how many characters are present, or sell their top left painting if it matches the region's icon for points. Any of these characters, if they reach the end of their track, the game ends and players will score. Pilgrims score for the number of temples times the number of gardens visited, merchants score increasingly for gold slabs, and artists score increasingly for sold paintings. So what I like, this is a lightweight duel game with some very fast and engaging turns. Since both players draft dice on every turn, you're constantly involved doing the best you can with the die roll and what your opponent has left you, with hardly any downtime between your decisions. And almost every action feels productive, especially early on in the game. Since each character has progressive ways to score points, you are seldom locked out of finding something useful with each die roll, which means you have an interesting choice almost every turn. And being a game in the Tokaido series means that the art is lovely. It maintains the same inviting, pleasant, and clean aesthetic of Tokaido itself, with the presentation of the board and components always being very clear. Now, points to consider. Now, scoring for the characters feels more compelling for some than others. So, for example, the merchant relies on getting goods and efficiently selling them, leading to some interesting timing and route planning considerations, while the artist system of flipping over randomly placed tiles and moving to get rid of one at a time feels less engaging. The game is also much more of a race than the original Tokaido, so since the player's points are always visible, in later turns it can lead to pausing to calculate scores and deciding whether or not you want to trigger the end of the game, which has a less relaxed feeling than you'd expect from a Tokaido game. And finally, the rules are oddly split between a very short rulebook and 3 double-sided character guides for each player, rather than having everything in a unified place for reference. So, in summary, Tokaido has fast turns that constantly engage players, though this can lead to some slow point counting in the late game. Each character's progressive scoring maintains early game momentum, even if it means that some are more engaging than others, and the art is characteristically beautiful yet simple, though the rules are presented in a fragmented and awkward way. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you like and share this video, and you subscribe to the channel. Thanks.